In the last video, we have created a list of chunks from a financial document, and within those chunks, we have the content of the document along with some hierarchical information in the form of breadcrumbs from the Markdown file and a contextual enrichment created by an LLM. But we have a problem. Once you're done with the chunking, you are either getting nothing since you're closing your Python script, or you have just a JSON file that you can use. But this JSON file is nothing compared to a database that will be able to do sub-second retrieval for your RAG. So within this video, we're going to be building our ingestion pipeline, and we're going to be learning about embeddings, which are going to help us in order to create more meaningful retrieval techniques. And we're going to be storing our chunks within a PostgreSQL with a pgvector, so we're going to be able to do embeddings for our vectors. Let's get started. Before writing any SQL, let's have a look at what embeddings are and why they are going to be very useful for us. In the last video, we've seen that you can use TF-IDF in order to provide a very simple search within your documents, and this was more than enough for our simple use cases. But simple search often misses words that are close by meaning and not exact characters. What embeddings are doing are to actually compress meaning within vectors, that is numbers. And within those numbers, you're going to be able to compare them and create a calculation that will tell you how close two or more vectors are, that is, how close their meaning is. In this particular case, if we are looking for documents that are talking about revenue, you would most likely want to have some documents that also contain the word income, since this is in meaning a very similar one. So within this example, if you're using embeddings, you're going to be getting documents from these clusters, but not from this cluster. And if you're using just TF-IDF or other keyword like search, you're going to be getting just the information and documents for revenue. If you want to get access to the complete source code that is available for this video along with a complete text tutorial, go and subscribe to MLExpert Pro. There, you're going to find a complete AI engineering academy that starts from setting up your environment, teaches you how to set up your local AI stack. Then you're going to be able to learn how to prompt, how to use the basics of LangChain and the basics of classical machine learnings. Then you're going to learn how you can build RAGs, CAGs, and AI agentic applications. And you're going to go through even fine-tuning and deploying your models. So if you want to become a better AI engineer, go and subscribe to MLExpert Pro. Thank you. In order to have a local Postgres instance with pgvector, I'm going to be using Supabase, and I'm going to be using a local deployment. That is, we're going to be spinning up the Supabase instance on our local machine. And if you want to use any other Postgres, you're going to be able to do pretty much the same thing that I'm showing you throughout this video. And even we are using pgvector and Postgres, you're going to be able to do pretty much the same thing using a vector database. What I love about Postgres and pgvector in particular is that you are most probably already using your Postgres instances in production, and just by adding pgvector extension, you're going to be building a very powerful RAG applications. In my local directory, I'm going to be starting the instance with Supabase init. And this is going to create a directory called Supabase within your project with this config file. And here I'm going to be creating a new directory called migrations. So what we're going to be building when we're starting this Supabase instance is the first thing is that we're going to be enabling the pgvector extension, and we're going to be running the extensions on top of the public schema. And the pgvector is just called a vector in the Postgres instance. After that, we're going to be adding the public and the extensions schemas to the user current schemas. And after that, we're going to be creating our only table, at least for this tutorial, it is going to be called chunks. We're going to have just an ID, the content, which is going to be the text. Then we're going to be having a JSON blob in the name of metadata. So here we're going to be storing the breadcrumbs and any additional information, the embedding, and this is going to be of type vector. And here, something that is very important, depending on your embedding model, you need to specify the size of your embeddings. And since we're going to be using Qwen3 Embeddings 0.6 billion parameter model, we're going to be using 1024 dimension right here. So if you're using another model, you should change with that within the schema right here. Then we're going to be using a full text search in English content, and I'm going to show you how we're going to be using that. And to enable vector similarity search, I'm going to be using hierarchical navigatable small world index, and this index is going to be able to give us the similarity search using a cosine distance, something that we're going to be using for our RAG application. For the full text search, we're going to be using GIN, and also we're going to be able to filter within the metadata. Also, we're going to be creating a very simple function that will give us a match chunks name along with the query embedding. This is going to be the search query, and then a match count, the amount of documents that we want to return. Once you're done with the migrations, you're going to be able to execute Supabase start, and you can see that the pooling of the different containers and images are getting done in real time. Once the setup is complete, your Docker instance should be running with Supabase, and you should be able to get a list of your keys and links. Get this secret authentication key within your local environment in order to run this for your local scripts. You should be able to see your chunks table with the content, metadata, the embedding vector, and the full text search vector along with your ID. Let's see how we can populate those. Back in my local cursor instance, and here we're going to be using our local Supabase client along with the Qwen3 Embeddings, the 600 million parameter version of the model. Let's first check and see that Ollama instance is running with the Qwen3 model. I'm going to be testing the similarity between those three sentences, and the first two are very similar in semantic terms, while the third is very distant. And if I check the similarity between those, we're going to be able to see that the first two text similarity is quite high, and a high similarity, or the highest possible similarity, is 1, while the least similar items have a score of 0. So you can see that the first two sentences, according to our Qwen3 embedding model, are roughly 2 times more similar than the comparison between the first and the third one, which only gave us a score of 0.42. So it appears that the embeddings model is working quite well. Let's next try to load our chunks. Those are coming from the JSON file, and you can see that we have a rough count of the tokens that we have for those chunks. Roughly speaking, we have about 1,100 or so tokens for each chunk, and from there I'm going to be showing you how you can use the chunks from the database that was just stored for us. So next I'm going to be running the query that is going to take the chunks themselves. And if we go back to the Supabase Studio, you're going to be able to see the actual data within the content, the metadata, which will contain the title, the subsection, etc. So you can go here and explore the context, etc. for each of the individual chunks. Again, the title, along with additional information here with the sections, the embedding vectors, which are the 1024, and then the full text search here again within this column. So all this information is now stored in your local database. Next, we're going to continue with searching for data center. And since we are going to be able to use just for this one full text search, I'm going to be using an AND operator. Let me show you what I mean. So this is the search query along with the AND operator. And as you can see, we got two results that definitely contain the data center. They must be this one, which of course contains the data center, and somewhere along the first one. So if you want to get full text search, you're going to be able to do that with just this script that we have. And the next one is going to be the vector search, which is going to be using the embeddings. So this one is going to be doing the search by meaning for us. Let me run this one for you as well. So here you can see that we are searching for something much more complex, record-breaking quarterly financial results. And here we also get a similarity score. Note that none of those are actually with very high similarity, but the first one, of course, seems to be with the largest one. And here the title says NVIDIA announces financial results for third quarter. So you can see that we are getting also the record revenue right here within the text. And this was actually weighted in all of the words within those chunks and found that this particular chunk most likely is going to be what we're looking for using the embeddings that we have just calculated. You now have a persistent and scalable knowledge base for your documents. You can turn off your computer or even delete your JSON files, and then you can come back, just spin up your Docker instance with the Supabase install, and all of your documents are going to be available. You can, of course, even try to use some of the hosted solutions. So you're going to be able to do that even outside of your machine. But we have a new problem. The end showed us that we got some strengths and some weaknesses for both for the full text search and the vector embeddings. And in the next video, I'm going to show you how you can build a much more powerful retriever that uses both techniques, and it uses re-ranking and other additional advanced techniques in order to vastly improve your retrieval performance for your RAG applications. Thank you for watching, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also, join the Discord channel that I'm going to link down into the description of this video. And if you want to become a better AI engineer, go and subscribe to MLExpert Pro, where you're going to find the complete source code along with text tutorials on all of those videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.